Good morning and welcome to Chris & Co, the show looking at what affects business in Kent with me, Chris Price. Joining me today are JJ Almond, Director of the Assembly Halls Theatre in Tunbridge Wells, and Emily Lockwood, Sales Manager at the Bridgewood Manor Hotel in Chatham. They'll be discussing the way the tourism sector is changing, with more people holidaying in the UK and growing concerns about the safety of Brits abroad. In our first report today, we look at seasonal businesses, which can be frighteningly busy through some months, but then quiet for large periods. DEVENNY looks at how companies prepare for the mad rush and how the retail sector is adapting to a tough Christmas period last year.
It's the middle of July, the time when the Great British Summer is at its peak. The last thing anybody is thinking about is Christmas. Wrong. This year the season has started early, as festive shops begin to creep into Kent's high streets, revealing how the parameters of the Christmas season are getting wider.
These seasonal businesses, their business model will only work within a few months. I mean, to maintain it for the whole year wouldn't be profitable at all. It'll be cheaper to run in terms of the setup, and then after their months expired, they'll keep it in lock-up and start again in the next time when the peak starts.
This year, growth in the retail sector is expected to reach 1.6%. However, retailers including Next, Argos and Marks & Spencer's are still recovering from the disappointment of last year's Black Friday. This has led to Argos announcing its Christmas toy collection with still over 150 days left till Christmas. Furthermore, the uncertainty after Brexit, as well as unnaturally mild winters, are all factors that may affect retail growth. This may leave retailers in a very cold winter with very little snow. DEVENNY reporting for KMTV.
Okay, JJ, we saw there how the retail sector is coping with the seasonal nature of their business, but in your sector, the tourism industry, particularly the theatre industry, how do you manage the sort of the rush, the non-rush? Obviously, Panto season is your biggest period. You've got Soup Polars coming down this year. How do you manage those busy periods? How important are they?
Well, they're really important. At Assembly Hall, we have a doubly busy Christmas period because we have the annual ice rink and the Panto happening at the same time, and the theatre's responsible for delivering both of those. So across the pantomime, we have about 20,000 people come to the theatre, and on the ice rink, about 34,000 people come to visit the ice rink through the opening period. So it's really, really busy. I think that the things that we do is we make sure our staffing's right. We make sure we understand the patterns and trends in people's past behaviour. And we make sure that we absolutely focus on delivering the best customer service to those people that are engaging with us to maximise our revenue and also their experience.
So at the moment, obviously, for the theatre sector, it's silly season really, isn't it? The summer is quieter. What do you do to make sure that you're still getting the most out of your time?
Well, it's quite busy just before the summer. And then as we move into summer, people go off on holiday. I think traditionally for us at Assembly Hall, we tend to go dark. So that means that we don't really have very much activity, and it's a good time for staff to take holiday, have a break and come back ready for the season that's going to be exceptionally busy into Christmas. But I think actually one of the things that we can be better at is being clear about how we can programme the theatre during summer for things like young people's activities, summer shows, so that we don't have empty space.
Would it be better if the theatre sector maybe tried to take some of the seasonality out of the business? Are there ways that seasonal businesses can maybe try and make the business a little less seasonal?
Yeah, I think as I just said, one of the things we can do is try to programme year round. So if we have product in the theatre all year round without gaps, that will help us take out some of the seasonal trend. When we look at holiday periods, we have people coming in to Royal Tunbridge Wells as a town and Tunbridge Wells as a borough. So we have an influx of people as well as people leaving the borough to go out on holiday. And I think, again, we just need to understand what those behaviours are so that we can make sure we offer something that suits the market that's available.
Emily, as a consumer, I don't know if you're a bit of a theatre goer, you go to the theatre sometimes?
Yes, most definitely. I've got 2 children, so it's always good to take the children to the theatre. And like what JJ was saying, if there was a summer club or something like that to help with those seasonal gaps, definitely be interested in coming along.
Do you think that the theatre sector in Kent is still appealing? I mean, obviously we've got the West End not too far away. As someone who goes to the theatre every now and again, is there enough enough reason to go to the theatre in Kent?
Yes, most definitely. I think it's always good to keep it local as well. So.
Yeah,
yes.
sure. And I mean, some of their previous stars, I mean, you had Curtis Stigers
Yeah.
recently. You've had a lot of names, but there is some linkage with the hotel industry, is there, on that?
Yes, because you had Russell Watson with you the other day.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
He actually stayed at the Bridgewood Manor Hotel, so. Yeah.
Okay. And there is that sort of, there is some, is there dialogue between the hotel sector, the theatre sector?
Yeah, I think there is. I think you have casts, you have companies, they need places to stay. Some of the higher profile stars will stay in local hotels. We see that we have to converse with local businesses, restaurants to make sure they know what's on the programme, local hotels to make sure they know when the busy times are. So there's a huge economic impact across all of those areas, I think.
And how do you compete theatres for the big names, for the top talent? How do you go about trying to make sure that they're coming to your theatre as opposed to another one?
Well, it works in two ways. Panto's a good example. We have to compete for the stars for Panto, and we have to compete for the most commercial stars to make sure that they will sell as many tickets as possible. And that really comes down to the fee that's on offer to them. So, or if they have a connection locally. So we have Mousetrap as an example coming to the theatre, and Louise Jameson's currently on tour with that. So we know that she will want to participate in marketing and promoting that in the town.
Sure. So Sue Pollard is at their Panto. Is that
Yes.
someone who would make you come along?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Brilliant. Okay, brilliant. Thanks very much for the discussion on that. Moving on now, let's take a look at the way Kent's tourism industry is evolving. Not so long ago, the county's offering for holiday makers was in sharp decline and was suffering from underinvestment. Today, the sector is undergoing a revival, highlighted by the reopening of the theme park Dreamland. But as Sarah BOAST reports, there are plenty of challenges still ahead.
When Dreamland first opened its gates last year, more than 7,000 people flocked to see the Margate attraction. During the first 6 months of it being open, thousands of people descended upon our Kent coastline to see the Heritage Fun Fair. But it's been a turbulent 12 months for Dreamland. Administrators were appointed earlier this year, but insisted the Kent amusement park still had a bright future. So, to what extent is Dreamland helping to rebuild the image of Kent as a holiday destination, and what is it doing for local business?
Dreamland being here is really driving forward that cultural, creative regeneration, and lots of businesses are being supported by the number of tourists that are coming here, and they all need somewhere to stay and somewhere to eat and somewhere to get breakfast and somewhere to buy things. So I think it's really helping to drive that economy forward.
In fact, in the past year, more than 30 local businesses have been set up, and even house prices in Margate have risen. And a third of people visiting Dreamland are coming from London.
People love the British seaside. It's such a great place to hang out, and I think Dreamland, with its mix of sort of vintage and cool new rides, is somewhere that really appeals to all generations, so everyone can have a great day out here. All over the coastline, there's fabulous things to look at, see, do, visit, and everyone should come down.
But of course, this is a seasonal business. In December last year, operators announced they'd accumulated nearly £3 million worth of debt, less than 6 months after it was opened. They'll be hoping for a busy summer that will prevent that from happening again. This is Sarah BOAST in Margate for KMTV.
So, Emily, we heard there how Dreamland is trying to take advantage of the tourism sector and trying to revive it in the area. For the hotel sector where you work, how important is tourism in Kent?
Yeah, it's extremely important for us, especially over the next few summer months when our corporate market tends to slack off because other people are obviously going off on their holidays. For our point of view, it's really important to have those local connections with the local attractions and try and work in partnership as best as we can to bring the most to the area.
Sure. And how, you talk about tourism as part of the sector there. You've inevitably with that you've got quiet periods. So what does the hotel group try and do to mitigate those quiet periods?
The way we forecast our business, really, we forecast in advance sort of 3 to 6 months. So we really understand our business and where our troughs will be and what we can do to kind of turn the business on and look at the segments that we're requiring. So if it's for our business segment, we would obviously look at our past users, our lapsed users, and see if we can turn it in that way, as well as talking to our corporate travel agents that we work in partnership with. And for our leisure market, we would look at speaking to our head office and look at offering some promotional leisure offers to drive the business into the hotel.
Sure. Is there any particular sectors in Kent that are pretty good to to focus on for the hotel industry, or ones that you're trying to bring in from outside the county?
Obviously looking at a lot of project work. There's a lot going on at Kent at the moment with construction, so we're always making sure we're the first to know about that to obviously secure the project work.
Sure. We've got a graphic coming on screen now, actually, which gives us some figures from YouGov. It shows that 3% more Brits will holiday in the UK this year compared to last year, while 1 in 4 Brits will be staycationers rather than vacationers. They'll be staying in the UK, and 1 in 5 say they feel safer holidaying at home rather than abroad. Now, obviously there've been some terrible events abroad of late, which has which we've all been very, very sad to hear about. Sad as it is to say, is there any chance that this could lead to a boost for tourism, for not necessarily tourism, but for the hotel industry, more people staying in hotels over here, do you think?
I think we are beginning to see that trend in leisure business as well as conference. It's maybe sort of keeping it in the UK for those reasons.
Sure. Do you think that customers from abroad are starting to choose Kent? What particular factors do they have that why is Kent's hotels in a position that is attractive to foreign companies, foreign people?
I think with the Kent hotels, they're greatly located to central London if they want to trip into London as well. We're obviously easily located off the M2. We also have our Ashford International Hotel, which is on the high speed link. So, to get people in and out of Europe, we're really well located.
Sure. Now, JJ, I'll pull you in here. At the moment we're in a situation where the pound is lowering in value, it's a bit cheaper, so therefore, while it's good for us to go abroad, it means that maybe it's a little bit more expensive for people to come here, which is tough for the hotel industry. Also, we're expecting tougher times economically, maybe in light of us voting for Brexit. If people are going to have a little bit less money in their pockets for a little while, would you want some kind of stimulus to try and get the economy going again, make sure people have got money to spend?
I think one of the messages we're hearing is that we need to be calm and that we need consistency. So I think recently the Bank of England not choosing to do anything with the interest rates was probably a signal that they want to give us comfort and settle the markets a bit. I think in the longer term it needs to link back to government policy. What do they want to do? How do they want to stimulate the economy? So we could see them drop. It's not great for savers, but it's great for all of us that are paying credit card bills, and other things would ease that for us. So again, I think I'd want to see something. I don't quite know what that will be, and I don't quite know how it will link with government policy with the Brexit vote and with the new Prime Minister.
Sure. Emily, you rely on conference facilities for a big part of your income, and obviously I would imagine a reasonable amount of that comes from abroad, where now it's more expensive to come over here. Do you think that the vote to leave might, is causing any concerns for the industry? Is it something that's being talked about at all?
We're monitoring it quite closely as a brand. Obviously, if anything changes status quo, there's always some concerns with that. But we're just very much business as usual at the moment. And we're hoping that, people may want to continue to conference in the UK rather than going out to Europe. So it might actually drive business for us.
One thing we saw recently was the Mayor of Calais actually asking businesses to think about locating or setting up an office in France to try and keep some ties within the EU. Is that something that you think would be a good idea? I don't know.
I'm not sure, really.
I think it depends on your business and who your market is. We were talking earlier, weren't we, that the Accor Group is a massive French chain. So for hotels, there's some market competition there. So it might be interesting to set an office up out there. For Assembly Hall Theatre, we're quite localised in our market.
Sure, brilliant. Both of you, thank you very much for coming in. That's fantastic. That's it for the latest edition of Chris & Co, our show looking at issues affecting business in Kent. You can keep up to date with the county's business news at kentbusiness.co.uk, but for now, that's it. Thanks very much. Goodbye.